What was the significance of the Louisiana Purchase in expanding the United States? Very interesting question. Not sure we have taken this question before. So let's take it. Let's first go to the map, because the answer to many of our questions can be found in the map. So I'm going to show you something for reference, and then we'll see something else. So right now we go, oh, please. Now we go westwards and we take a look at the map of the United States. These United States of America, right? This one here. As you can see, it's essentially half of a continent, right? The Mercator projection kind of shows Canada as a gigantic nation compared to the US. It's similar in size actually. So the United States, as you can see, it's half of a continent. Now, let me show you the map of the United States in 1800. Okay, let's go to Google and let's find out. Map of the United States 1800. Map of the USA 1800. Let us see. Okay, check this out. I'll expand this on a different screen so that it'll be easier to see. Here we have it. Okay, check this out. So over here, if you can see, the portion on the right, the green and the orange and the yellow, all of that was the United States. Only that. To the west, you have something called the colony of Louisiana, which belonged to France. As you can see in the center of the screen, the colony of Louisiana, which belonged to France. Can you see how large it is? It was essentially almost as large as the existing United States. And then you had the Viceroyalty of New Spain, which belonged to Spain. And then you had so-called unclaimed territory, which is shown as empty on the map, because nothing existed there. No humans, nothing. Or if humans existed, they did not classify as humans, possibly, according to the people of the United States. So the United States was significantly smaller than the United States you imagine today, wasn't it? So you had Connecticut, you had Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, which was the original United States. Virginia was the place where Jamestown was founded. The Americans want to forget about Jamestown. It's an inconvenient story. And then you have Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, all that. And you had the Western Connecticut Western Reserve, and you have the Northwest Territory, all that. So that's all the United States was. And Louisiana, as you can see, this large piece of territory that extends all the way from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Mexico. This gigantic territory belonged to France. So that's the background. Okay, that's what you have to understand before we have this discussion. Now let's have the discussion. So the United States was this small piece of territory comparatively to today's map. Small piece of territory. To the west, you had this huge piece of territory, as almost as large as the existing US, which belonged to France. And the Louisiana Purchase happened in 1803, at which time France was ruled by Shri Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon. And the foreign minister was Monsieur Talleyrand. Now, the Americans, they were interested in not in the entire territory of Louisiana, but they were interested in one city. Let me show you once again by going to the map which city it was. Here is map, yes? So, the United States, which was only confined to the west, the eastern part of the map, it was interested in a city called Nouvelle Orleans. New Orleans. It's the city where the Mississippi River drains into the Gulf of Mexico. And the Mississippi River starts all the way up north, by the way, all the way up north. It's the largest river system in the world. So New Orleans was an extremely important port. And the United States wanted to purchase this port from the French. This port belonged to France. It was a French city. Even today, if you go to New Orleans, there's a French Quarter, which is the more cultural side of the city and so on. That's a digression. So New Orleans, is something that the Americans coveted. They wanted this port, and they sent. So you have Thomas Jefferson, who's the president of the U.S. at this time. Okay, and he sent a couple of negotiators, a team of negotiators, a team of diplomats to Paris, to France, to Paris, to negotiate with the French government for the purchase of New Orleans, this one city, this one port. And the Americans were willing to pay $10 million for this one city. We'll pay you $10 million. You transfer the city to us. That was the objective of the mission, of this diplomatic mission, to acquire New Orleans. The maximum price they were willing to give, as instructed by the president, was $10 million. Now, Louisiana, this huge territory that belonged to France, did France actually control it? Well, not really. France did not have any control over much of the territory. Only some parts of the territory were controlled by France, but on paper it owned the territory. Much of the territory was well inhabited. All of it was inhabited by the Native Americans, and they were the true owners of the land. But on paper, France owned it, but France controlled just a little portion of it. So the Americans just wanted New Orleans. In the Napoleonic Wars and all that is happening in Europe. So the American diplomats reach France, and they are willing to negotiate hard. Maximum we will give you is $10 million. Give us New Orleans. They go to Paris, and the Monsieur Talleyrand, the French foreign minister, tells them, you know what, we would like to offer. Louisiana for $15 million. 15. And the Americans are shocked. They're stunned. There's no telephone, there's no telecommunications, there's no email, there's no WhatsApp, there's nothing. Washington and Paris, they're separated by the Atlantic Ocean. Takes God knows how much time to travel. There's no time. And the Americans were worried that if we don't take the offer right now, Napoleon may take the offer off the table and we may lose New Orleans. So instead of paying $10 million for one city, the negotiators, without consulting the president of the US, they agreed to pay $15 million for the entire territory of Louisiana. And the papers were signed, and it happened. And Thomas Jefferson was fine with that. So the negotiators, his diplomats, they correctly assessed that the president, even though he has given us a hard limit of $10 million for one city, he'll be okay to purchase the whole of Louisiana for $15 million, which is shocking. Which is like what? 8, 12, like $15 per square kilometer or something, per square mile. Less than that. It's a throwaway price. So that's what happened. And that instantly doubled the territory of the US in size. And the Americans finally felt that we are a first rate world power now, or we have the potential to be a first rate world power. We're not some little outpost on the Atlantic bank of this continent. We now own half the continent. And we're going to get rid of the goddamn natives, the savage natives, the savages, the goddamn savages. We shall exterminate them, and we shall turn this into the land of the whatever it is. Whatever it is, right? So that's what happened. So it was significant. It was hugely significant. It doubled the size of the United States. So we took a look at the map of the US in 1800, right? Let's once again revisit this. The map of the United States, 1800. Now let's say 1805. See what happens. Boom, double. You see that? Double the size. Look, back and forth, back, forth, back, forth. It doubled the territory of the United States. It was massively important for the US. So, very significant. Louisiana Purchase.